Hey everybody, episode 3 is here and we're ready to go, but I'm waiting on Pooya. He's not here.
Rob, the game is afoot.
Oh, Pooya, you're here. Oh.
That's right. You miss me?
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. What, are you wearing a robe and a IKEA bucket hat?
That's right. What, do you think Alan can be the only one with a goofy hat?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yes.
There's two of us.
You're here. You're here on talk about episode number 3. No, please chat. No spoilers beyond that, because that's not what we're here to do. We are midway through our 5 episodes Traitors recap here today. And boy, this one started out a little slow, but got real hot at the end. And these idiots. Boy, Traitors by a million at this point. Pooya. Traitors are going to run away with this thing. They might. The Traitors might wrap this up by episode 6.
It really does feel that way. It really does feel that way. And it doesn't seem like it's slowing down any. Because in the beginning, it looked like, okay, their names are out there. This is good. Yeah. But they're not putting it together.
We talked about in episode 1 earlier today about, what do you think? The Loyalists or the Traitors? Who do you think got it? And I said, I'm not going to bet against Suri. Let's go with the Traitors. And we should never, because Suri said maybe too risky to murder Brandy Glanville, who say my name. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get the loyals to vote out Brandy Glanville. How about that?
That is the best move for them, because then they don't have to deal. They don't have to have the suspicions out there. It worked perfectly. Because now, again, had they gotten rid of Brandy, Cody could have been in the line of fire. Anyone in that car could have been in the line of fire, but it could have been Cody.
Yeah.
This is masterstroke. They're done now.
Okay. Pooya, a lot to unpack here. I feel like that we missed a lot here, because I'm watching this vote go down, and really, you had Michael voted for Brandy. I'm like, boy, Michael, he's out of touch. Rachel casts a vote for Brandy. And I'm like, Rachel, like, you needed to work with Brandy. I don't know why you're voting against Brandy. If anything, I'm like, you all are blowing it. You're supposed to be voting for Kate if you wanted to get one of them out. And then Suri casts a vote for Brandy. I said, okay, well, that's interesting. Like, what is Suri doing? I kind of thought that the move for the Traitors was, okay, why don't we get rid of Michael? He goes and stands in the truth circle and says loyal, and then you could come back around and like, hey, Kate and Brandy, you idiots, you said Michael was a traitor. You were wrong. Maybe you're the traitor. Even though that is what happened to the first 2 people. But so Suri casts a vote for Brandy, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And then all of a sudden you get all of these a lot of these newbies falling in line, and I'm like, oh boy, this is like shades of like Micronesia, of like Natalie Bolton and the other woman that was there on Micronesia that starts with an A, Alexis. Yeah. And so you started to get all these other votes of the Azras and the Amandas of the world falling in line. Andy is a vote for Brandy. And then at the end of this thing, 8 votes Brandy.
Yeah. For a second, it looked like they had split the votes with Brandy and Kate, and that Michael was definitely going. But then by the end, it got very lopsided. See, what's interesting in all this, and I want to give him credit for this, is that Cody didn't vote for Brandy. Yeah. And I thought that was a pretty good direction to go, especially when you were in that car with her, because once they find out she is a faithful, you don't want to seem like you're tipping the scale there. So I think that was good. Also, I think there's definitely a benefit to not voting with your fellow traitors. I think that also helps. Obviously, this is still like a big vote, like 9 people still voted that way, but you know.
But Pooya, help me. I did not see a lot of evidence that it was Brandy, other than, she kept going back to pointing the finger at Michael. And if anything, I felt like that Kate was louder about that it should have been Michael. What did the group see in Brandy that made them feel so strongly that it was going to be Brandy?
See, I'm not quite sure how to pinpoint this, but I think ultimately, we saw them alone, the two of them chit-chatting. I think that definitely helps. I think then you think of the stuff Brandy said at the round table when Brandy slaps back at Michael and says, "Oh, you're not crying tonight, are you?" I feel like that comes off a little charged, and then I think they think, you know what? She's putting it on a little too thick, perhaps. This might be a big push. Let's go that way. Because ultimately, still, some people did vote for Kate, but I think in the moment, people may have just been like, out of the two, all right, I think Brandy was the more present one at the table, so let's go with that.
Yeah, this is a big blow to the loyals because Brandy was the one person that she kind of had it clocked of that, okay, it is going to be, it's Michael, she was wrong about that, but it's Cirie and it's Kristen. So she's got 2/3 of the traitors down cold, okay? She's working with Kate and they feel, really good about the people that they have that are traitors. They're just distracted with the Michael of it all. And ultimately, she's gone. Kate's solo. I do feel like that the way that it played out, kind of feel like that Kate is safe for a while now.
It feels that way until we got to the end of the episode. Now I'm unsure.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay. So all right. Now and then the other shoe, which how quickly I forget. Okay. So Stephanie LaGrossa Kendrick, she sees that Kate drop something. Okay, this is very like Survivor-esque. Okay, she's got the clue to the advantage and she goes and picks it up. And great episode title for this episode. Murder, She Wrote is the name of episode 3. Didn't really understand why it was called that until we get to the end.
Yeah.
Stephanie picks up the advantage. She runs off into the bathroom and reads it, and it's Kate's hit list.
Yeah, so what had happened was Kate and Brandy were chilling by the bar, and then Kate was writing down names of people she was suspicious of, and Brandy was like, Shelby? No, definitely not. So she crossed out Shelby, then she wrote Amanda. Brandy was like, no. So this is that same list that now in the hands of someone else like Stephanie is looking at it and thinking, oh, this is a hit list. This is the this is the death note. This is not good. I found her. I got her where I want her. And this is information I need to tell someone I trust, someone who's a faithful.
Now, Stephanie claims that Kate wrote murder on the list. If that is the case, ma'am, why are you writing murder on the list?
Hey, it's a word that's very commonly used by the host. I feel like you hear it enough times, you put it in there. But
murder.
Do you think she put murder on that? I don't think so. I think the crossing out the name is what she took as murder.
Oh, maybe she took it as murder.
Yeah.
And so what does Stephanie do? She goes to Cirie. You're the only one I trust. Here's the list. Here's the list that Kate had. I'm only going to show this to you.
In the arms of a faithful. She did not go because she went directly to the traitor's den and shares this information with the one and only Cirie.
Would have been bad had she found Kate's list and then gone to like another faithful. If she went to Rachel Riley, like, oh my God, look at this. I'd be like, oh my God, this is bad. This is bad. But to go to Cirie with that, it's over.
Is it though? Because this is what we need to figure out. This was the end scene, which I think is the biggest talking point of the episode now, because you see it, and upon first glance, I'm thinking what Cirie's thinking, right? Cirie now has the smoking gun. She can get people to vote out Kate. They have this proof. However, Rob, if Cirie pushes Kate and says, we found this note, end of episode 4, Kate gets voted out. Kate gets up there, says, I'm a faithful. Now Cirie is on the radar for pushing this. So Cirie cannot push this at all.
She can't push it, but she could push Stephanie to do it. Like if Stephanie is going to lead the charge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Stephanie is that she's like, I've got it. I figured it out. That look, we've played these games. When you think you know something, you're more sure of that than any other thing in your entire life. It's like, I know. I've been parts of these games. I've been dead wrong. And I'm like, okay, this person, it makes sense. That's why they did it. And like, No, you were wrong.
Yeah,
Wait,
all you need
what?
is a crumb of information and the confirmation bias comes seeping in. We do this on the Masked Singer podcast every season. We hear one clue. We're like, all right, this is this person. Lock it up. It's not. I think this is, in my opinion, this is what the blueprint should be of what happens here. Cirie now knows the note had Shelby with a cross on it, right? Shelby's still there. Take out Shelby tonight. Make Stephanie feel even more sure that she caught Kate. Then kind of push Stephanie to put that information out there, tell as many people as she can. Then they vote out Kate. Kate is fine. Now everyone's looking at Stephanie. And before you know it, the traitors are sleeping easy once again. I think there's a lot they can do with this, and I'm very intrigued. My only hope, Rob, as a Cirie fan, is please do not do any of it yourself. Let her do it.
Look, she's too smart. Okay.
Also,
I mean, yes.
She needs to not share this with Christian when they meet up later at night, because Christian is a leaky faucet and he will just put more on himself.
Yes. Now, it will be hard to give this information to Cody and not give it to Christian. Like, I don't think they really get private time of like, hey, Christian, can I get a one-on-one with Cody down here? And so that might be interesting that she has to try to navigate that situation. As we try to figure out who they're going to kill next, let's circle back to the kill that they made coming into this episode. And last time out, we were talking about how, well, they didn't even really throw us a crumb of who else it could be other than Brandi, and bam!
Bam indeed, Rob. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Bam is gone in the dust.
And, sad for Bam. He did not really get a lot of screen time here on the Traitors. Why Bam? Because nobody would see it coming.
Exactly. A shot in the complete dark, in the middle, someone who's not really connected, who's not really been vocal, is kind of perfect to keep the suspicions of the people that are louder out there. I think this was a perfect move. That's why I didn't think Brandi was going to be the one to go there. Like, that's too obvious. You don't want to do that. You want to keep people that could get voted out just like Brandi in.
Okay, so is there another Bam move? You mentioned Shelby. That's an interesting one, that she was on the list. Is there anybody else that it makes sense for the Traitors to take out tonight?
So I think I want to run that back. I do not think Shelby should be taken out. I think anyone on that list should be left alone, because then there is a world.
They can't find the list. They don't know who to kill.
Right. I think if you want to shoot against someone who is kind of quiet, not really involved, I feel like Azra's name was not on the list, and Azra's someone who has been quiet. Although there was some Kyle in the speech in the roundtable mentioning like we need people who are going to be talking. That could be maybe bad. Angelica's another one who's right there. As far as the reality TV folks, Ari is not a half bad choice to take out here. I feel like if you're going for someone, again, in the middle, if you're going for someone silent, these are some options that were not on the list.
Yeah. Can we see anything about in terms of like who's working with whom in terms of like what the vote was? There ends up being 6 votes for Michael. So of course we had Kate and we had Brandi, who were the Michael votes.
And
Cody's a Michael vote. That I think trying to throw people up the scent. Shelby, Angelica, and Kyle end up being the other Michael votes.
Yeah, I feel like what I've learned watching Traitors UK is that there's these votes aren't often a alliance or a group coming together, especially this early. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the decisions get decided at the round table.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you of like, are these like live tribal councils in terms of like they come in and people are going to go for one person and then ultimately they switch it at the last second? Or does like Cirie have like 8 votes locked in coming in and she knows Brandi's going home before they even get to the round table?
I think it's too hard to do that here because we saw Michael try and do that with Geraldine, and then a lot of people were not about that. So I think it's still so early that they haven't made connections that they fully trust each other like that. Obviously, as we get later into the season, you'll hear a lot lot of people be like, I trust you completely. You're 100% faithful. I'm faithful. Let's work together. We get that more later. But at the early goings, I feel like genuinely people are coming in with some names in their head, but it's not finalized until they get all the suspicions out there and all the conversation to figure it out, because they use a lot of whatever body language they see in the meeting to kind of determine which person they're going to lock in, it feels like.
Locked E. I am so bummed out to have Brandy go. She was one of the MVPs of the season for me. I think that the part in this episode that I thought was really so great was when Kate and Brandy were at the breakfast and talking about Christian and Michael. And basically the conversation really between the two of them. And then it's really Kate who's more taking the lead, talking to Christian about how, hey, it's nothing personal. She's like, yeah, I don't think it is. She's like, but you're that he's going home and then you're next. And he's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, that's it. You're done.
That's the plan. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. They were great. Ultimately, it ends up being a little bit like that. They end up sort of like hoisted by their own petard here a little bit, that they were just like they flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, obviously when there's someone's name out there, someone who's already been on the radar, whether you're a traitor or a faithful, unless you're a traitor and there's another traitor's name floating, leave it be.
Yeah,
because they will sink their own ship. People will go default there anyway. Do not push it too much.
They were great. Put them out there with Benoit Blanc, Knives Out 3. It should be basically Benoit, Kate, and Brandy. Send them out there. I forgot to mention in episode 2 that the scene where Brandy Glanville is talking about how she thinks Suri is one of the traitors. Was she drinking a White Claw on the way back from the challenge?
See, I saw that. And then I think Rachel had a similar one. It said recycle. I think it's just a can of water. I don't think it's a White Claw, although that'd be vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because from what I've seen on Knives Out, Glass Onion, that sometimes the more you drink, the better you are at figuring out these mysteries.
Hey, sometimes you drink, sometimes you know things, sometimes you put the two hands together. Boom.
Yeah. Okay. We had a mission here, a mission to a musical challenge. Rachel, she's good at music, and so Rachel really did shine in this challenge. She tooted her own horn at the end. I think her skills were wasted in the group that was ringing the bells. I think she could have really done, not that they needed the help, but I think she could have really been even more useful as being one of the listeners.
I think she would have nailed it as a listener for sure. Luckily for her, there were enough people on the other side that understood what was going on, which is good. But I do think, Rob, she was crucial here because especially in that first song, her bringing up the song, putting the tempo out there allowed them to really sync it up, because they were going a little offbeat, a little too slow. And she was able to remind them, no, it goes like this. And then they were able to do it that way.
Yeah. So they went through it. Again, these tasks are cute, but I don't really know if they're adding too much to what's going on. I did like what Suri was thinking in terms of, I am going to try to excel at these challenges, because the better I do in the challenges, the more people will trust me, and also get that money, baby.
Yeah. If you put your heart into it, if you look like you're really, really working hard, it doesn't incentivize people to banish you if they do not have any suspicions on you. If you're in a good standing, it makes you in a great standing, which I think is great. Whereas, as a traitor, if someone's doing really, really good, you might want to take him out for XYZ reason, similarly to how we saw with Reza. But Reza had kind of gone down in standing because his loudness had contributed negatively to him working really hard in the challenge.
Yep. We cannot overlook Ryan Lochte's contribution to this challenge either.
My belt was
ding, ding, 7.
So every time I hear the ding, I was like, yeah, look at me contributing. What?
Truly, Rob, the bar is in hell for him, and he can clear it so simple. He pulled a couple levers, let a couple bell noises out, and look at him. And here's the thing, Rob, he's a genius. No one's talking about him. No one cares that he's there. Pencil him into the end. I think he's going to be here for a long time.
He voted for Kate. He said that the people that I trust the most are telling me this is who we're voting for. It was only what, Quentin and Stephanie that were the Kate votes?
Yeah, I feel like there's a shot that some of the Kate votes flip to Brandy at the table.
Perhaps.
But yeah, I think he might be talking a little bit out of his butt on that one. I don't know how many people, but also I think Ryan will just listen to anybody who tells him a name. So maybe he's with the Beanie Boys that we saw a couple episodes ago.
Maybe. Okay. Any other standout moments for you from episode 3?
Let's see. So the list thing was fun. We've already talked about that. Oh, yeah. Can we talk about Alan Cummings' outfit? I want to get your thoughts on the Luigi green beret. What were your thoughts on that?
Look, I don't know if this is like he has a wardrobe there, if he brought his own clothes there, but I mean, he was very fun. He's been great through the whole series. He was very funny as like they were cut away to him when everybody is playing the music. So, I mean, he's certainly doing his fair share. Incredible job by Alan Cummings.
Yeah, no, I absolutely have been enjoying him. Again, both UK and US have enjoyed the hosting on it, and I love the energy they bring. To me, both hosts really convey that they're enjoying themselves and they're a part of the fun, and I do appreciate that quite a bit. So I did love that from them.
Yep. Also, Brandy's exit was iconic when she goes into the circle of truth. She tells the group that
faithful.
Why are we censoring this, Peacock? It's on a streaming platform.
Yeah, and they were saying the other swear words. They say the S word. Are they not allowed to say the F word?
I feel like I watched Love Island US this past season on Peacock, and if I remember correctly, there was no bleeping.
I don't know. Maybe it was for effect. Maybe it's more powerful when to hear mother bleeping faithful.
I respectfully disagree, Peacock. When you hear that, it really hits different.
Yeah. And then of course on the way out, she ends up talking about how
Idiots.
Yeah, let's get the Brandy Glanville idiots merch going.
Honestly, sold out one day, guaranteed. Yeah. It gave me, a lot of flashbacks to many games that I've played where you vote someone out. It's not them. They're pissed on the way out. They hit you with an idiot.
Yeah. She peed herself also on the way out. Not on the way out, but earlier. Okay. Pooya, as we start to look ahead to episode 4, okay? Who's murdered? Who ultimately is banished?
Ooh, that is a tough question. Okay. So I think there's a big chance that Kate gets banished. Unfortunately, but I could see it. I could see it if Stephanie pushes out this information. So let's focus on who's going to get killed overnight. I could see Andy being killed. I could see Azra being killed. Those are my two. I'll go with let me go with Azra. I'm going to go with Azra on the prediction. What are you going to say?
Okay. Do we think that the Kyle and Ari, because I kind of felt like that at first there's a little bit of like the, celebrities versus like the newbie players, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily how things are divided, but I do feel like that Kyle specifically, he was one of the votes against Michael. So he's kind of on the other side of things from where Suri wants to be. I wonder if he could potentially be vulnerable.
I think it's possible. Maybe after that speech he did too, they realized, oh, you know what? Maybe Kyle is trying to play this game, trying to think through. He might suss us soon. Let's get rid of him. It's entirely possible because then you can also pin it on someone who was quiet, perhaps.
Or if you're Cody and Suri, are you trying to like camouflage among the other like famous people that are there? Like, is that actually good for you to have famous folks that are like not being killed?
I think so. I definitely think so, because you think about it, and some of the targeting Cody's doing feels like it's the bigger personalities always. And I would argue at some point you'll get to a place where you are now the biggest personality in some way, shape, or form, or the biggest name. And I feel like you don't want to be in that position, because we discussed this in the first episode, potentially metagaming. How people metagame? Would they figure out this, that, or whatever? I think if you get down to 2 celebrities and like 6 non-quote celebrities, they might be like, we've got one traitor, perhaps. It was Christian. I bet one of these 2 is it. I think that can definitely happen.
Okay. Anything else you want to make sure we highlight before we move on to episode number 4?
I want to let people know that it is very difficult to watch the show and then cut yourself off to come here and talk and then have like a fire in your belly to like watch the next one, because we're very excited. So it's tough, but it's been such a fun ride today. I'm so happy we did it this way, Rob. This was genius.
Okay. There's a question. This is from Zemolicious. You guys, I was staring at my screen for the past few episodes, like, where do I know Angelica from? And then I realized it's Tommy Bracco's cousin.
This family, like, what was next? Like, his third cousin is going to be on, like, The Bachelor? Like, this family is just pulling out on anywhere. They know each other, Rob.
Yeah. Now, for real, this is Tommy Bracco's cousin, or they're saying that this is a joke?
I mean, I'm
they
assuming.
Know each other. Yeah. So do you think that guy, I mean, did that come up? Is she telling like Cody and Rachel, like, hey, my cousin is Tommy Bracco. They played Big Brother?
I would assume she has, right? I mean, they might not show it on the show, but you pull up to a house, there's 2 Big Brother players. Your cousin was a Big Brother player. You probably know them, know their games. You're going to say something, surely.
All right. So we'll see if that factors into anything.
Rob,
Yes.
do you go to a hairstylist, to a barber? Are you a barber guy, hairstylist guy?
Like, I don't think the kind of places I go to would constitute as like a hairstylist.
Do they talk to you about do they give you a psychiatry session? Do you have a therapy session with your hairstylist?
No, I do not.
That was the one Angelica moment for me that stood out was, I'm a hairstylist, which is basically therapy. I was like, all right, if you say so. Okay. I'll take your word for it.
There you go. All right. So let's leave it there for episode number 3. We're going to be back at 5 p.m. Eastern for our episode number 4 recap coming up. And so having a great time, Pooya. The day is flying by. So I hope everybody else is enjoying it too. Enjoy episode number 4, everybody. And we'll be back to talk about it in just a bit. Take care. Bye.